Hello, my name is James. I'm here today to share with you in a series of videos how I make my gardens work, how I make them productive every year. We're here at 7,500 feet on the western slope of Colorado, so our weather can be pretty extreme. Summers are pretty warm, winters are brutal cold, and the seasons are short. So I came to share what I've learned uh, because I get a lot of questions. I get a lot of people, everybody that sees my gardens or hears about my gardens wants to know, how do I do it here? How do you get it year after year to get all the different crops? So I'm gonna do my best to let you follow along this summer and show you how I do all of this. Um, we're mid-spring. We're just the day before Mother's Day. Mother's Day is typically kind of the planting time here. I've prepared a lot of the beds already this year, but I'll take you on a tour and we'll look at all these beds and everything is kind of a raised bed. I have a few different enclosed greenhouses. There's cherry trees and raspberries and lots of strawberries. I've built some new beds this year. As you can see with the netting, everything is enclosed in some way. The birds are brutal, and the other little critters, they'll eat all your stuff. So to limit disappointment, it helps. So let me take you on a tour. We'll go look at this stuff and see what's going already. This first garden here, it's kind of a raised bed. I use a lot of natural building materials in pretty much everything that I've done. Boulders are one of my favorites to stack them up. In all of my beds, I have a walkway that's cut down into the bed to make it kind of a raised bed. I know that there's a lot of different ways to do this, raised beds, but this is kind of what worked for me. I use drip irrigation. This garden here is stuff that survives cold weather. Spinach and kale and carrots and peas and things that don't mind being a little bit cold. Alright, so we'll walk around here. Some bird netting. So I've got several different beds all together here. The sink is for washing carrots. They're kind of a mess to clean, so it helps to be able to do them outdoors here. This is a strawberry bed. I just finished building this one. Lots of heavy wire on this one. It has a tree also contained in here that is an apricot or a plum or something. I do not remember which, but we'll find out hopefully one of these days. So we can look in here. Strawberries, freshly planted bed. Again, I use boulders gathered up, pretty easy to find around here. But timbers work well, wood works well. The problem with wood is that it does decompose over time. Rock will not. This is another strawberry bed, built similar, enclosed in wire. If you don't have a cage over it, you'll never see a berry. The birds will always get them first. I use drip irrigation or soaker hoses. They really help to get the water where it's needed on the dirt, not so much on the leaves. So this is one of the greenhouses. Okay, I'll step back here. So plastic panels, treated posts where they go into the ground because they'll rot off really quickly. Some recycled cinder block. The plastic and the treated posts are the expense and the drip irrigation, but I've tried to use as much. You step in. This here on this garden is some conveyor belting chunks of concrete. This piece of concrete right here worked really good. Just stand them on edge. I built these, just whatever scrap wood was laying around. The wood does rot out though, and you have to replace it. You have to work on it a bit. And I keep this kind of like a trench walking down in here, and it's about knee high to me, which keeps it at a little easier level. Just working on some drip irrigation here. These plants here are some raspberries. They do phenomenally well in the greenhouse. Okay, so we'll go over here. We're going to go take a look at one of the most important portions of gardening, and it's compost. Been in here digging this morning. This is kind of what inspired me to try to share a little bit more of this. Is people ask me a lot about compost. 70% brown matter. That's what I've read. Seems to work pretty good. Even here in Colorado it's cold. It's not a super efficient process because you don't have a very long season. It stays frozen about half the year. So, but it works. Get the pile big enough is the secret. You don't have to have a special enclosure. You just got to have volume. Volume properly mixed. You got to aerate it. Got a little bit of guerrilla gardening going on over here. Got some horseradish, goji berries, cherry trees. Over here, got some more raspberries. This over here. These are cherry trees. These guys here. All of this has to be covered or the birds in the neighborhood will eat it all. And we're gonna go look at one more garden here. I've managed to grow about anything that you can think of. I've grown artichokes and bell peppers and jalapenos and Brussels sprouts and lots of different. I get a lot of strawberries, a lot of raspberries. So this here is my other greenhouse. Again, whatever I could find to put it together, so to speak. A lot of scrap recycled stuff, concrete for retaining walls. Got a little exterior garden here. This is for the zucchinis because they take up some space. Come in here. I have these shelves. They're new, and I'm gonna try to do like jalapenos, I think. And some bell peppers. Again, walk in, step down, all the way in here. Okay, come in, another trench. Keeps everything to a level where I can get to it a little easier. Kind of creates a heat sink so that the cold air has some place to flow. I think it helps keep the bed level warmer. Shelves in here, those will be full of pumpkins and squash, acorn squash and butternuts and all kinds of different stuff. And I do pie pumpkins for pie. I love to bake pies. Come around Thanksgiving, Christmas time. And acorn squash and that kind of stuff. And if you stick with me, I'll share recipes on how I prepare all this stuff, on how I harvest it. In here I've got there's a couple rows of carrots, and then these are carrots here from last year that have survived 20 below in the garden all winter. And they will probably go to seed this year, which I will harvest that seed when it comes out. And pretty soon this place will be full of cucumbers, green beans. This here is a spinach that I started in here early this spring. As you can see, it's already ready. We can probably start trimming on this one, start eating a little bit of that. So the greenhouse definitely extends the season for this high altitude. And in a lot of places in the country, you won't really face the same issues. I know that a lot of places are go out to Illinois and throw a pumpkin off your back porch and just grow a pumpkin patch just like that, right? But not all of us are so fortunate. Topsoil here is kind of hard to get. So we'll go back over here. Like my tripod. Set this down and talk to you just a minute here. So that's my setup. I'll let you follow along as I do the work here. I'm going to get a better tripod. Try to pick a time without quite so much traffic. And I'll go through every step. I'll show you how I plant, how I stir the dirt, how I make my compost, how we do the watering, and ultimately, the best part, how we harvest and how we use what we get out of here. I freeze, can, I do any type of preserving that you can think of. And so follow along and join me back here again, and I'll just keep you posted on what happens in the garden. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.